welcome back to my channel. I'm Liam. After a very, very unlucky round, last round, hopefully we can bounce back with some good moves throughout the buys which are coming up. Hopefully I can give you all some good advice for these coming rounds. What should we do? Who should we target? And some buy strategies that have personally worked for me in the past. Might be different for others, but it's either some of my thoughts for the upcoming rounds. But firstly, with the trades, there's a few options I am looking at this week for downgrades. The first one and the most likely one I'm wanting to target is Cody Waitman. It's averaging 86.5 in a forward line that is absolutely dominant right now. Admittedly, they did win by 111 this week, but I do see him doing that to a few sides. Might not be 111, but they're absolutely a gun team. Even without Treloar, I feel like they'll still roll over most teams. So that's my first option this week. I do see him probably going 70 odd. He might not have the best week this week playing Melbourne, but I do see him averaging about 70 odd in the future and be handy in the buys. It is. I'm personally fairly clogged up in that first round of buys, so Waitman is certainly an option for me. But if you are clogged up in that middle buy, he is. You could just hold trades if you're feeling good with your team. But I feel like Waitman's going to make up a fair bit of coin for years, and I feel like his job security is fairly secure at this very stage with the Bulldogs' injuries going around. And number two, James Madden actually has played a very good game on the weekend. I don't see him having very good job security at the Lions. I feel like he came in for an injury, but he took 4 or 5 intercept marks, kicked a nice goal on the run. So I feel like he won't get dropped this week, but might have some job security worries later on the season. Got very flexible with defender forward status. Solid average of 62.5. And priced at 123. If you need the cash instead of going down to Waitman, go down to him. I certainly don't disagree. Just be wary that he might not have the best job security and might not be playing in a few rounds' times. Whereas I think Waitman is going to play throughout the whole buys. And I personally would pay up 50k for that. An extra body on the field is an extra 50 points, so I feel like that's worth 50k in my book. And looking, Reeves is an interesting one. Probably one game too early. He's going to probably play next week, and then he's got the bye, and then we'll play his third game in the round 13, where Flynn is going to play as well. Flynn probably is needed handy for that last bye. So it'll be tough to see what we do. Hopefully Reeves gets a double rest, and then I don't see that happening. But he's just come a week early for everyone's liking. There will be a lot of temptation with teams to trade him in on that round 13 bye, because he still would provide cover, and I don't see him losing his spot at all. So that'll be an interesting one come then. If Flynn has a shocker, then that probably provides a nice little trade option in that round 13 time slot. So anyone else looking at targeting? Murray scored about 30 in the last 2 minutes to get to 60. If you need a defender, Adelaide will play their rookies. I feel like he's just behind Madden just because there's no flexibility. with him. 146k is still solid. Don't expect much. He does have the last buy, so that's handy. He can play through till then, and then possibly offload in that round. So here's another slight option. If Reeves wasn't around, Zach Smith is tempting. I just don't see him playing all season. Will get rest, but he will be on your bench. So if Reeves wasn't there, he would be a tempting option to go down from Flynn, but I would say certainly a no. Harry Edwards did his job security, no harm. He actually played a half-decent game last week watching it. But again, I wouldn't. He's 164 is probably not someone I would target. Jones, I don't see him averaging more than 55. Is it worth 180? Over Murray, yes. Over Madden, don't think so. I don't think he has the best job security either. Port didn't play that very well on the weekend, and he was in one of the bottom scorers, so a bit scared of him possibly going back to the reserves. Zach Sproul, if it wasn't for Waitman, could be an option, but I don't think he has much job security at all. He's been in and out the side a fair few times, so wouldn't want to target him at all. I think we've missed a boat on Sweet. Handy little option if we knew that Martin and stuff were out for a while, but unfortunately he's just hasn't played many consecutive games for him to be picked. Caleb Poulter was a great pick of ours. 228 is probably a bit too much to pay for him now, but good work if you did pick him. Same as Collier Dawkins, same as Elwood, same as Burns. Just a bit too late to pick any of those players. Flinny's soon. He's keeping on moving up. Hopefully he can get to that 450, which would be very handy. Wilson's another one on his buy, but I don't rate him at all. So looking at some mid-price options that we could look at targeting this week, I don't see many. Franklin is actually an interesting one. Playing Carlton, again, I wouldn't want to target any of these guys at all. Dusty's still valuable. Plays Adelaide this week. Thames played very well. I still think he's he's very underpriced. But I feel like most teams do have him still. If you don't, there's no rush to get him. I'll probably target him after the buys. Ridley's another one that I'm looking at. If you don't have him, he's bottomed out in price. He is a 100 type player and priced at 480. There's a little bit of a bargain there. Heppels, we've missed out. I probably wouldn't want to target any midfielders with that sort of price at all. Impey was a nice selection at the start of the season, coming along well. No one else I'd look to target in these. Looking at the top, let's start with defenders. I got unlucky with Salem last week. I don't think he's an option at all, with Mills absolutely dominating. I want him as soon as possible. Has a round 14 bye, so it would be nice to get him this week, because bringing him in next week is fine, but bring him the week after is probably, you don't want to bring him in 1 week before their bye. It's just a little bit of a wasted trade as such. You get a game, no game, and then have to play a game. But in the next 2 weeks, Mills is certainly a target. Doherty, I'll wait till after his bye. Laird, you could certainly target. Has a very nice midfield role with Mills. Crisp is picked up. Is playing nice, like off the halfback, but into the midfield as well. Certainly, 5.15 is fairly cheap for him. He had a good end to last season, and he seems to be playing a similar role to that. So he's certainly an option I'll be looking at targeting. Daniels bottomed out in price, got tagged and still got to 105 with Bulldogs dominating. Scores are there. And Ryan's another one playing that quarterback role at Brisbane. It will get a lot of at Fremantle, sorry. And is seeming to get a lot of the ball. And someone you can certainly target with that last buy round as well. Looking at some forwards, this is probably the worst line in the whole history of the AFL. It's just been a shocking line this season. Aaron Hall, he does have the buy in round 12, so I don't recommend targeting him. Zorko, I personally feel like I have a lot of mid buy round players around 13. So I probably wouldn't want to target him as such, but if you only have one premium in that area, Zorko is certainly an option to target. And at worst, off his buy, hit a bit of form, especially with Neil out and 536. He's going to be a top 6 forward, no doubt. Bailey Dale had a good game, but I wouldn't want to target him with any experience as a premium. Nick Hind, if you got him last week, good on you, and I feel like he's still an option at 470. It does look bad that he's gone up 144 already, but well, Tom McDonald, the forward's dream, inconsistency of scoring 120 and then 60 the next. Just one reason not to target key forwards at all. There's no other forward options that interest me at all. Rux is just a Max and Grundy show. I don't see anything else changing. In the midfield, Oliver was absolutely amazing. Soured me because I couldn't take his VC because of Murphy and Highmore, but he is probably my number 2 behind Bontempelli 1, and I feel Lyons is my number 3 with McRae 4. And the informed Parish at 5 at this very stage is my top 5 for midfielders if you want to target them. They're all in a big clump, and 10 Bontempelli, Lyons, Parish, McCluggage, McRae all have the same middle buy. If you are stacked, if you have more, I'd say if you have 2 of them, look at targeting them. If you have 3, probably 4 is a bit too many to have on one buy. Look at targeting them after. Oliver's probably one of the best buys for a midfielder in round 14. I only have him as my midfielder for that round so far, so he's certainly an option, probably one of the better options out of those 5 for this week. Tommy Mitchell looked to target off his round 12 buy. Guthrie probably I think he got hurt a little bit. I just wouldn't target him at 609, and Dangerfield's going to be coming back after the bye, so it's just a wait and see on him. Kelly, again, same as Cunnington, who's hit a bit of form as of late. They've got that round 12 bye, so don't look at targeting him, but that round 13 trade took, those guys will certainly be high on my radar. Jack Steele has been a bit disappointing, 108. He's gone down 95k, so if he hits a good game, he's a bit underpriced for where he's at this very stage. I was looking at actually targeting him for this round against North, but this 99 did scare me off a little bit. But if he is still on my radar with the round 14 buy, as I said, same as Oliver, there's not many of them on it. Fife's another one on it. I just never trust Fife's injury history. That's my reason for not bringing him in. He's a gun player, but I just don't never trust him with that. Walsh looked like he was going 180 to start the game, but slowed down. Still an option, but there are better options. But I would rather target those 620, 630 guys. above. Petrarca's dropped a lot in price and will soon be targetable. I wouldn't say as of yet, but again, like Oliver, has that last buy, so pretty handy option as of such. Talking about trading rookies, if you still have power, probably offload him. As North support, I don't see him just with that buy on. I don't want to hold him for 2 rounds, especially with me having to hold Duncan, Taranto, and if you have a Kelly or a Guthrie, it'll be a hard hold. Plus, I don't see he's going to drop another 30k next week, so here's my number one trade option. Jordan's an interesting one, but I would hold him to his buy. It's just he's fairly valuable, and he's other than this 47 this week, he's gone 85 plus the last 4, so he's a hold. Same as Collier Dawkins. Don't trade him as of yet. Warner, I would hold to his buy, even though he's not performing. But if you can get him off this week to a gun, certainly do that. If he's rolling around with Danaher, I wouldn't. He'll be one of my last traded. Scott, if you have Scott, he's a must trade. Being injured this week, hold Rowe to his buy. Other rookies as such, McNeil, I am looking at trading this week. It's nearly maxed out in price and just got that popular middle buy that will be a bit annoying to deal with. And Kaczynski certainly would want to offload him now as well. You could wait to his buy to offload if you really want to, but it'll be hard trading that first buy with you don't. It's really hard to bring in players that are going to have their buy in the future. So round 13 is round 12 is nearly a round where you don't look at trading at all, or at worst doing downgrade to get some cash to upgrade for players off the buy. So that's some of my tips for the buy round. Some of my tips for bringing in players this week. Hit me up in the comments if you need any team help. Always here to want to improve people's teams. So till Thursday, where I'll give my preview of and captain options, loopholes, and all that gist. Have a good one, and thanks for listening.